Hebrews. This is our Prophets of Awakening. This is our Women Advanced Bible Study, the 30th of September, 2021. What I'll be doing later on in the lesson is I'll be reading the book of Nahum. We're going to read chapter by each chapter, and then, get some Q&A and some response from each chapter. I'm asking everybody to like and share, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification button. Those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh, which is the Old Testament, and the Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by the Lord of Hosts at Mount Sinai. With that being said, shalom and welcome to everyone. We're going to do our moment of silence, our prayer, and our psalms, and then we're going to go into our current events, then go into the lesson. Okay. Oh Lord, we come before Thee at this hour, and at this time, to thank Thee for Thy patience and for Thy strength, for Thy love and Thy great power. Oh Lord, we come before Thee with praise because we understand now who You are, and we appreciate You. We appreciate Your love. We appreciate Your wisdom. We appreciate Your consistency, and we appreciate Your patience and understanding. And we understand Your position in heaven and in earth. Therefore, we come this day seeking love and wisdom, consistency of spirit, patience, and understanding. With that, peace be unto you. Okay? We're going to go to it. Psalms. I'm going to do Psalms 20. It's a Psalm of David, and it's sung trust in chariots. The Lord hear thee in the day of trouble. The name of God of Jacob defend thee. Send thee help from the sanctuary, and strengthen thee out of Zion. Remember all thy offerings, and accept thy burnt sacrifice. Shelah, grant thee according to thine own heart, and fulfill all thy counsel. We will rejoice in the salvation, and in the name of our God we will set up our banners. The Lord fulfilled all thy petitions. Now know I that the Lord saveth his anointed. He will hear him from his holy heaven with the saving strength of his right hand. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord our God. They are brought down and fallen, but we are risen and stand upright. Save, Lord, let the King hear us when we call. Now that's Psalms 20, and it's Psalm Trust in Chariots. Any comments? Okay. Anybody got any current events?
I have a couple of current events. I don't know if everyone knows that starting tomorrow, postal services will be delayed. So instead of 1 to 3 days, it will be 1 to 5 days, and also the prices will be going up.
Okay.
Yes, and that they are, really pushing this, vacay on everyone. So in New York and San Francisco, if you don't get the vacay and you're not playing, you don't get paid. That's for the NBA players. So, and I know they're doing, the football players the same way, NBA and football.
Right.
So they're really, really, pushing that,
Okay.
trying to make, people really, make a choice, feed your family or, do this.
Okay.
Yeah. And Abbott, governor of Texas, made a comment saying that if they fire any of the, border patrols for using the whip, that he would hire them.
Okay.
So yeah, that was pretty interesting. We already know how he is, so
Okay.
yeah.
Right.
He
Okay.
signed a new bill funding the border security.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we know you're a Trump supporter. You're a Q
Oh,
man.
yeah. Right.
Yeah.
What's the justification behind the use of a whip? I mean, I'm sure it's other ways that I hadn't seen them ever use a whip on any other, the immigrants from Mexico.
Mexico,
Right. Exactly. Right.
I don't get it. I'm sorry, they justifying that.
Right.
Yes.
Really, what it is, it's an insult to our intelligence. But they've been
Yeah.
intelligent so long till they they don't expect no response.
Wow.
Right. And they're trying to say
It's a
it
new
was
day.
for the horses. I didn't see them using it on the horses, like I said.
Exactly.
Right. It wasn't brought out, no other time.
And then it's the way they was doing it. Like I said, the way they was making the horse jump around, this and that. It's the same way you do with sheep and cattle. The way
Right.
they were doing it. Yeah, that was a bad idea from the get go.
Like herding them up, herding them.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Oh,
I wonder where they took those people so quickly.
Oh, yeah, right. It's
We
gonna
don't
come
know
out.
where they are. They could have told us they sent them back. We don't know where. I don't know. That's
And
not
it's like you don't hear no more talk about it.
Right.
exactly. I don't get it. I was watching something, and it was like you talking about the NFL and the NBA players.
Right.
Can't think of the guy's name, but the reporter was asking him why he was not going to play and why he decided not to take the vaccination. He was, and he was saying, I don't think I need to explain it to you. Did y'all see that one?
Kyrie Irving.
I don't know. It's like a young guy. I can't remember the name. I clicked on it on Instagram and he was saying, it's none of your business. Was that him?
Yeah.
They were asking him, he was like, none of your business. That's my business. Like, well, you're gonna, it's a big deal because you're gonna lose a lot of money. He said, that's not your concern.
Right.
That's my concern. So, it's people are, standing up, but it's just like so many of them are just blindly going along. So it's like you don't even hear about those kind of cases unless it's on, an Israelite channel or something like that. So
Right.
Yeah, it's just like they didn't mention. Kelly mentioned that it was Israelite group down there at the border in Del Rio giving out provision.
yeah, that was awesome.
That's why they.
That's probably why they took those people so quickly.
Yeah, that's how they got them out there so fast because they was mounting up for it was going to come or go down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just some. Okay, I got some current events and some of them tied to the same thing. Okay, here you go the first one. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fox News alert, more trouble brewing at the southern border. Get ready. Panama's foreign minister expressing confusion over why the Biden administration was caught off guard by that huge Haitian migrant surge. Telling Axios that she, quote, sounded the alarm months in advance, and now she's warning there are plenty more on their way. Jeff Paul live in Del Rio, Texas, with the latest there today. Jeff, good morning.
Yeah, Bill, and here along the Rio Grande, it's the same situation that essentially repeats itself. Migrant group after migrant group streaming into the U.S. And in some spots like where we're at here in Del Rio, Texas, this river is really the only thing that separates them from the destination they so desperately desire.
Now, listen to this clown right here.
Of the Rio Grande nearly his entire life.
I've run this river all the way, miles and miles, and I've never had one instance of problems.
Okay, all the Mexicans that's over here, he said he ain't never seen as many people come across the border. All the Mexicans that's over here.
But Baxter has noted a changing tide when it comes to the river that separates Texas and Mexico.
It's crazy. I've never seen anything like it.
Some days it's 5 or 6 in a group, other days more. But nothing prepared him for the thousands upon thousands of migrants who poured across recently, seeking the American dream.
Don't get me wrong, I feel bad for these folks, but how do you handle a migration like that?
With such a steady stream of migrants, folks out here on the Rio Grande who boat or fish egg, you really have to slow down and pay attention with so many people out here trying to cross the river. But with politics dividing how to fix the immigration system, the border crossings are showing no signs of slowing down.
It hurts my belly. It makes me sick to my stomach to watch this. I mean, what are we going to do? How are we going to handle this? Is my question. How can we handle it?
And our sources on the ground say there could be another massive migrant caravan on the horizon. Authorities are currently tracking a group as large as 20,000 people. Some reports saying it could be as 60,000 people that are heading north and could arrive anywhere here along the U.S.-Mexico border.
There's something. So when the Israelites left Egypt, what they called it? They called it a migration, didn't they?
And I mean, you have to know it's something going on with them leaving the gates open for the Mexicans. They're firing, healthcare workers. And I mean, the Afghanistan people that they brought here, I mean, they have no problem with taking, the vacay. I mean, you got to see something that's getting ready to take place. We may not know exactly what it is, but we need to be getting prepared for a major change.
Well, it's really, it's like you said, it's not given to them to understand. So if you go back and look at our history, right? Our history tells us that we crossed the Red Sea, right?
Right.
Our history tells us we crossed the Jordan, right? What they doing?
Yeah.
Well, it's right there. They're not getting it. And then, like I said before, when you understand how we came here, Judah was brought here. Levi was taking the Haitian. The majority of the Haitians was Levites, and then Benjamin is over in the Caribbean. And he said, in the end, the signs is he's going to start bringing them back together. Well, what's this all about? All of a sudden, these people come, migration. Like I said before, we tie all these words that's coming up is tied to Israel, our past, our history. It's a migration. All of a sudden, people of color. And then when all the images you watching, they crossing over this river. Come on, it's right there in our face. But people ain't. We've been brainwashed. We can't see it, but it's right there in our face.
Yes,
and they're trying to stop it, but it's steady coming. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So many people, all the nurses and doctors that don't. That's they see it every day. So it's it's telling that they're quitting their jobs not to get it because they know they're in the hospital. They know what's happening.
Exactly.
That should be a clue to people who have questions. If the nurses and doctors don't want to take the vaccination, why would regular people want to take it?
Exactly.
Right.
They health official.
Right. But to me, Star, it seems like, there are not enough people that is really even paying attention to that at all. They are still promoting it.
Exactly. And they know it's not preventing it. So I don't understand why it's mandatory. It's not going to prevent them from infecting other people. They're just saying, it'll limit the the symptoms if you get it. But a lot of those people are dying.
Right.
Yes.
It's not even like it's gonna curtail it. So why are we mandated to have, unless it's another agenda, which it is.
Shalom. Some are so brainwashed that they think it is protecting them.
Exactly, they do. Right, and it's not go right along with the New Testament too. They really believe that JC is who he is. All them, that's the same people. 9 times out of 10, if they believe they're Christians, they gonna go take the jab. All in the same. It's a package.
Yeah, it does seem like that because they won't hear nothing about it not being. Everything is a conspiracy theory to them.
Right.
So trust.
And yes, and I was watching a video today on YouTube where they're even pushing it on the private business owners, saying that they're going to start fining them. I mean, they're coming from all angles.
Right. Exactly.
They
gotta know. They gotta know based on everything that happened and the economy is crippled. They gotta know that there's gonna be some serious ramifications. So that let you know it's intentional. Whatever it is they doing is intentional because they, yeah.
We might as well get prepared because they already telling us this winter is gonna be rough.
Right.
Not only delaying of packages, but everything else. Because you go in the store and you look at those prices now, or you go to a restaurant, how they have increased the prices on the menu. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Right.
Yes, and the shelves are so bare now they can't even cover it up. They were, sliding stuff here and moving stuff in other places, but now they can't even hide that they're empty.
Right. And guess what a discount said? Pork. Ain't that something?
Right.
The steak and the kosher meat, all that's it's sky high, but you can get a truckload of pork.
Yes. Go try to buy some beef and lamb. My goodness.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that tell you right there what's up with them because we waking up. We all over the place. So that's a direct light being shined directly on us by them doing that. That's what they fed us outside the back door of the slave quarters. It was hog. That's why we eat hog head cheese and put pig and everything we eat because that's what they was giving us. Tail and was that chitlins?
Right.
They was throwing all that to us out the back door.
Right.
Leftovers. Ear and feet. Yeah.
Right.
Right. And the hog and the thing about it is, just like I'm saying about all these factors is, migration, crossing the river, all this stuff tied to us. So it's the same thing when they brought us over here. We wasn't from here and the hog wasn't from here. So they had the hog on the same boat with us. Ain't no coincidence. He ain't from here and we ain't either. So they brought him over here for one reason, to defile us. Keep us defiled. Ain't that something? Here we go.
Like you were saying, or somebody was saying, I think it was you, talking about, like they're not listening. It's like in Noah's day,
Right.
our warnings that we've been trying to wake people up and let them know.
Right.
They call it, people crazy when they talk anything opposite of what the media is saying or the government is saying.
Right.
It's a conspiracy. Then you are something wrong with you for thinking that way. So
right,
frustrating.
Where you get that from? Ain't that something? Here we go. Got another. This is I was talking about this earlier too. Just a reiteration. Can you see that?
Yes.
So UPS, let me look at it. See, UPS prices go up on October 3rd. Here's how much mail will cost now and for how long. Seeing how they package this year, you may want to budget a bit more and cover the cost of shipping if you're using UPS, U.S. Postal Service. That's because the Postal Service will raise the prices of shipping parcels through the holiday season. See that? So you know what that is. The You know, we got Black Friday, whatever it is, just right after Thanksgiving. All that stuff is down tremendously. They ain't gonna make no money off of that, so they making it up in other ways. But it ain't gonna work. Price hike goes hand in hand with the delivery slowdowns starting October 1st, which are part of a decade-long plan to stabilize the Postal Service rocky finances. Here's what to know about the temporary price increases in all parcel shipments, including what kind of mail, new rules apply to when the packages prices will return. So why would you, jack the prices up during the holiday season? Why you won't jack them up after the holiday season? Say the current rates apply only to packages sent through UPS Postal Service. UPS and FedEx are separate from the Postal Service. Some Amazon packages may arrive through Postal Service, but Amazon sets their price. Here's how to track when a package will arrive at your doorstep. Okay, yeah. So ain't that something? You see everything going up.
Right. And what is the online shopping called after the Black Friday? Isn't it Cyber Monday or something? They call it, where you can order offline and everything is at a discounted price. You don't have to get out amongst the rush. You know, all of that is gonna change, and they know people,
I think
freak out.
that's the
Right.
Friday after. That's the Friday after. I mean, the Monday after Thanksgiving, I think.
Okay. Yes.
Friday, Monday.
So they stopping that too.
Oh yeah, ain't nothing working. That's what I'm saying. And what, like I said, they can't. You ain't been awakened. The Most High ain't dealing with you. You can't see that it's Him. He behind it. He doing it.
Right.
This place being, it's like the Road Runner and the Coyote. The Road Runner saw on the bottom off Monday, and he can't even see it.
Mm.
You know. Here go another one. So this one right here says that. Can you see that?
Yes.
Says we know now why Biden was in a hurry to exit Afghanistan. There was a moment on Tuesday Senate hearing on the withdrawal from Afghanistan when it became clear why President Joe Biden decided to go get the troops out of there as quickly as possible. Right. So it says it came when General Mark Malley, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, explained why he and other chiefs, top officers of the Army, Air Force, Navy, and Marines all agreed that we needed to pull out by August 31st the Doha Agreement, which President Trump had signed with the Taliban in early 2020, with no participation by the Afghan government, required a total withdrawal of foreign forces if the U.S. troops had stayed beyond August. Mali said the Taliban would have resumed the fighting, and in order to stave off the attacks, we would have needed 30,000 troops and would have suffered many casualties. So he said, and yet, as Mali also testified on Tuesday, he, the Chiefs, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, and others military officers advised Biden to keep 2,500 U.S. troops in Afghanistan beyond August 31st deadline. The difference is that those troops wouldn't be attached to any military mission. Instead, they would transition to a diplomatic mission. However, it is extremely unlikely that the Taliban would have observed this systematic distinction. In their eyes, 2,500 U.S. troops would have been as 2,500 U.S. troops, regardless of whether their mission was officially said to be military or diplomatic. Therefore, the Taliban would resume fighting, as Mali said, and they would, as Biden would then have been faced with a horrendous choice to pull out while under attack or send the other 30,000 troops. Okay, that makes sense because these shows just jumped up and got out of there real fast. Is there something? Any comments on that? Okay. Got something else. It seems like it's insignificant, but it's got some big ramifications to it. Right here. Congress prevents government shutdown for now. Biden signed before midnight deadline. That's today. Congress passed a last-minute legislation on Thursday to avert a government shutdown as top Democrats systematically dash to solidify internal support for the twin planks of President Biden's agenda. The House and the Senate approved a bill to keep the federal government funded until December 3rd. After a back and forth between Democrats and Republicans on some of the legislation decisions, and after days of growing drama generated by the specter of a third government shutdown in 4 years. Okay. So it just recently, a couple hours ago, they passed it.
Yeah, I was wondering what they were gonna do because they were
Yeah,
acting like
that's what I was saying. Now, they're
yeah,
gonna put it off till December.
the last minute.
Right.
Oh, December now. Okay.
Right. December 3rd. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if anybody heard about this right here. This is this kind of went under the rug. Jews attacked Harris. It says Vice President Harris' office does damage control over student of Israel comment. Vice President Kamala Harris' office is working behind the scenes. See that? Behind the scenes to mend relationships with pro-Israeli Democrats after not pushing back on the student who, in asking her a question, accused Israel of ethnic genocide. All right. It says on Thursday, Harris senior staff contacted an influential Democratic majority for Israel to clean up remarks she had made Wednesday at George Mason University, where Harris was visiting a classroom with students. We were pleased our Vice President's senior staff reached out to us today to confirm what we already knew. Her commitment to Israel security is unwavering, said Mark Mellon, the president of the group. Senior advisor to Harris also reached out to Representative Ted Deutsch, whatever it is, that's Edomite name, the co-chair of the bipartisan anti-Semitic task force. Is so familiar with the outreach told about Politico. There go your handlers right there. She hurried up and cleaned that up.
She's very reckless with
Right,
what she
exactly.
said.
She don't even look presidential.
Yeah, I don't.
Right.
She's dangerous.
Oh yeah. Is there something? Okay. Anybody got any comments on that? On anything I just talked about? Okay, I got a video on play. We're gonna listen to it, and I mean, we never really kind of talked about this, but I'm kind of bringing it up tonight. It's about, when you go back to in the history, and you start thinking about the, so-called Roman Empire and all that. You never see where Rome was in Africa nowhere. There's no really substantial, stuff pertaining to the conflict, how these two cultures, that the Romans, and the Egyptians and all them came in contact with each other, but they did. And so the reason why that's downplayed on that because it exposed a lot of stuff that we told you in the New Testament that not true. So I'm gonna play this right here.
Of antiquity, with the most prominent of these being featured over and over again in mainstream documentaries. However, there are many forgotten wars that are just as fascinating and well worth exploring. They introduce us to overlooked cultures, and especially make us question just why these wars were forgotten in the first place. In this video, we'll be exploring the Roman invasion of Kush, the kingdom beyond Egypt, which had claimed the head of Augustus.
So notice it says the kingdom beyond Egypt. So that's telling you two different manner of people. You know, they have us brainwashed when you say Egypt, talking about all of Egypt, all the black folks in Egypt, but you got Cushites, like I was saying before, and Egyptians show you that on the walls. They show you the different type of men that was in existence.
This video was sponsored by Magellan TV. They're an awesome documentary streaming service run by filmmakers with a selection of over 3,000 videos to choose from among the categories of history, science, nature, space, and more. /Invicta. Enjoy. Let's begin by examining the Kingdom of Kush. Located in modern Sudan, it was a region with a rich history dating back thousands of years, virtually to the birth of human civilization itself. As with its neighbor to the north, much of its development would be driven by the life-giving presence of the Nile. Geographically speaking, the Nile starts narrow and winding as it meanders its way over hard rock, forming a series of cataracts before eventually straightening out and widening as it eventually fans out into a delta that merges with the Mediterranean. The differences between these various stretches of river would have huge implications for the early civilizations that sprouted roots along its banks. In Lower Egypt, for instance, the river routinely overflows into a wide floodplain that makes irrigation easy. At the same time, wide, flat stretches of the Nile with north-flowing currents but south-blowing winds may travel easy. This supercharged the agriculture and trade of early Egypt, propelling its first dynasties to great heights. Upper Egypt too benefited from these geographic boons, though perhaps to a slightly lesser extent. However, once one hit the first cataract, things began to change. The narrower Nile had a much reduced or non-existent floodplain, while the winds blew less favorably and rapids or waterfalls made continuous waterborne travel difficult. The potential for agriculture and trade were therefore diminished, and a natural break occurred between the lands of the north and south. Yet that isn't to say they were completely separate. In fact, their histories were long intertwined. While Egypt of the 3000s BC was first united in the early dynastic period, the lands of Nubia played host to a variety of tribal kingdoms. Chief among these was the Kingdom of Kerma, which eventually gained control of the vast lands extending from the first to the fourth cataracts. It appears to have been a highly centralized state which drew wealth from agriculture, pastoralism, animal products, mineral processing, and trade with the African interior. They were a force to be reckoned with, boasting a formidable army of footmen, skirmishers, chariots, and at times even elephants, which frequently clashed with their neighbors. But it was their archers in particular, armed with massive 2-meter bows and cane arrows, that gained a fearsome reputation across antiquity. The Egyptians knew this well, referring to their southern neighbor as Ta Seti, or the land of the bow, and making frequent use of Nubian archers as auxiliaries and mercenaries. The later Achaemenids would also recognize their prowess and drafted them into their imperial army. Thus we see that these lands of the southern Nile were not to be overlooked. Generations of northern pharaohs had to respect the threat from Nubia, which would raid or invade their lands during times of weakness. But the relationship cut both ways, and when Egypt was strong, it would be the one to push the offensive beyond the first cataract. It is these ebbs and flows in history that would over time mix the cultures of these two regions that were otherwise geographically distinct. For instance, in the 1900s BC, Middle Kingdom Egypt extended its boundary south to the Second Cataract to establish new trading outposts and mining operations. We hear of many border wars and raids during this era, while also seeing a substantial uptick in the development of heavily fortified towns along the contested frontier. Later, in the 1500s BC, the unparalleled supremacy of New Kingdom Egypt would see it push all the way to the Fourth Cataract, swallowing virtually the whole of the Kingdom of Kerma, but leaving much of the heartland regions further south untouched. During these key centuries of direct pharaonic rule, new cities and temples were built, while the local ruling class adopted many aspects of Egyptian culture, including their architecture, religion, language, and writing. Following the fall of the New Kingdom, though, Nubian rulers would return to the helm as the Kingdom of Kush centered around Napata. Its kings slowly gained wealth and power and came to see themselves as the true guardians of the Nile.
So it says Kingdom of Kush. It had nothing to do with Egypt. It's like you got Kingdom of Judah, and then you got Israel. It's two that, it's not the same. It's two different kingdoms right here. And the reason I'm showing you this because when we start trying to deal with Egypt and dealing with the scriptures, we combine all them people together along the Nile. But he's showing you right here, it's two different type of men existing on the Nile. On one end of the Nile is the kingdom of Cush. And then at the top, you got the Egyptians. Well, we are oppressed there. But there's another kingdom that just as influential and just as vast and been there just as long, Cush. Yeah.
Thus, when the northern pharaohs once again fell into a state of collapse, the kings of Cush pushed north. They first solidified their hold on Lower Nubia before taking Upper Egypt and eventually challenging the princes of Lower Egypt. Finally, following the hard campaigning of King Piye, the entirety of Egypt would belong to the Nubians, forging one of the largest territorial powers of its day. Yet they were not seen as some occupying force of alien outsiders. The ways of the Nubian rulers were quite familiar to the Egyptians, and the heirs of King Piye ruled as the official 25th dynasty. As a testament to their legitimacy, they wore the traditional double crown of Upper and Lower Egypt, worshipped Egyptian gods, had their names inscribed in the official records and temples, and by most accounts were seen as fair, benevolent rulers who did much for the people. Eventually, however, their fortunes also waned in the face of the rising Neo-Assyrians that launched several invasions against the Levant and Africa. After many bloody bouts, the kings of Cush were eventually forced to pull back to their traditional lands of Nubia. Yet they still kept a substantial sphere of influence over the lands of Egypt through trade, diplomacy, and of course war-making. The resurgent powers of Egypt, though, grew tired of this interference, launching fresh offensives that managed to sack the capital at Napata in 529 BC. As a result, King Espelta would move his administrative center to the more southern city of Meroe. From here, the Cushites would rebuild themselves. They would do so in a slightly different environment than before. The lands around Meroe were far from the lush floodplains of the Nile, but that did not doom them. Agriculture here instead drew life from tropical rainfall.
When they talk about Meroe, that's the I don't know if anybody's familiar with that, but that's the other area they always showing you where these other pyramids is at. They're not as big and as large as the ones on the Giza Plateau, but they was building pyramids too. That's these people right here. And it's a disconnect between them and Egypt. And like I said before, when you understand this stuff right here, it's in the Bible, but we just reading over it. It's right in the Bible. The Most High is mentioning it, but because we don't know how to understand it, we read right over it.
Productive farming can therefore still take place, but required new practices and the use of more sophisticated tools. At the same time, there were also plentiful lands to graze vast herds of cattle, while rich mineral deposits made for the lucrative extraction of copper, iron, and gold. Meanwhile, the adoption of dromedaries vastly expanded trade routes through the region, while merchants increasingly tapped into the shipping lanes along the Red Sea. The kingdom of Cush was thriving. As proof of this, when the Achaemenid Empire conquered Egypt in the 520s BC, Cambyses would send spies to assess the strength of the southern lands. Herodotus reports that when the king of Cush discovered these men, he replied by sending back a bow with the simple message, quote, "When the Persians can draw a bow of this greatness as I do, only then should they bring overwhelming odds to attack the long-lived Ethiopians. But till then, they should thank the gods for not giving the sons of the Ethiopians a mind to win more territory than they currently have." Apparently, this enraged Cambyses, who sent a force of over 50,000 to confront them. However, his campaign would ultimately end in disaster when supplies ran out and a huge contingent of the army was swallowed in a sandstorm. Eventually, though, some advances may have been made by his successors, as it seems the area between the first and second cataract were part of the Ethiopian satrapy listed by Herodotus, while Nubian rulers were said to send regular gifts to the King of Kings. Over the following centuries, though, the heartland of the kingdom of Cush at Meroe would remain unconquered and rose to new heights. As it did so, the local culture slowly came into its own, melding with and superseding the previous Egyptian-dominated one. We see this in the addition of new religious sites and deities, such as the lion god Epidemic.
Okay, so that's Forgotten Wars, the Roman invasion, the four beasts of Nubia, which is not, it's left out. They don't want to talk about that. But my thing, one of the reasons behind this is that when they was left and they fled, when Antiochus Epiphanes came, when they fled, this is the reason they went across the top of Africa and came down through the Sahara Desert on the west coast, because there was nobody existing over there. That's what a lot of people don't understand. It was nobody existing over there. All the captivity, it was along the Nile. You had this Cushite kingdom down at the bottom of what they so-called the White Nile, and then up at the Blue Nile, where the Egyptians was at. That's where all the activity was at. And because they had been there before in captivity there, when they fled from Antiochus Epiphanes, it tells you they went to a land where no man exists, because Most High had already warned them, you never is to return to Egypt, because I delivered you from there. You can't never go back there. So when that remnant that fled from Antiochus Epiphanes, they went up across the top of Africa, came down through the Sahara, over on the west coast where no man dwells, with no activity over there. Africa is so huge, with nobody existing over there. All right, so that's the settlement of the west coast. Started when we fled from Israel, fleeing from Greeks. Yeah. So that's like I said, this is Foreign Wars, Roman invasion of Nubia, 24 BC. If you want to watch all of it. Any comments?
I'm going to be watching that because I need to tighten up on my history. So that would be a great video for me to watch.
Right. You just got to look at the geographical locations of those kingdoms, because that plays a whole lot of part in it. Because, like I say, a lot of these doctrines, people that came up with, yeah. You got to do your research. I'm going to play this right here. It's got, it's got some New Testament stuff in it, but like I said before, you understand how that most of this stuff come out of the Old Testament. So we're going to let it play. It's got some revealing stuff in it.
There came one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 bowls, and he spoke with me and said, "Come to this place and see. I will show you the judgment of the great whore that sits on many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and those who dwell on the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication." So the angel carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet-colored beast that was covered with blasphemous names. And the beast had 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet-colored garments, and was adored.
When you read this and read the way it's being delivered, and go to Daniel, you can see this stuff come out of Daniel.
With glittering gold, precious stones, and pearls. And she holds in her hand a golden cup full of abominations and the filthiness of her fornication. If you've been paying attention, then you should notice something about those who claim to know the identity of the woman who rides the scarlet-colored wild beast. They either claim that
that's why it was taken out. I want you to know who this woman is.
She represents the United States government, or others postulate that she is Rome and the Roman Catholic Church. But the problem with these deliberately misleading claims is that they are red herrings. And what is a red herring? According to dictionary.com, a red herring is an argument that is used in discussions or presented information to divert attention away from the real problem or matter at hand. And an entry of Wikipedia defines a red herring to be a clue which is intentionally or unintentionally misleading or distracting from the actual issue. And the issue at hand for this discussion and revealing of the truth is the identity of the woman who rides the scarlet beast. So let's consider what the Most High's prophets were told concerning the identity of this woman. You might be surprised to discover that her identity was revealed some time ago, but the woman herself hid her identity from you. So it is our duty as descendants of the Most High's people to invite the woman to her apocalypse and solve this mystery. So, to the woman, the house of the Most High welcomes you to your apocalypse. What's the name? Well, if you lack knowledge about certain ancient languages, then a great deal of need-to-know information can pass you by unnoticed, and will leave you forever in the dark if you're searching for long-hidden truths. For instance, consider the word woman or women. You no doubt recognize these words from the English language. However, what you may not be aware of is that the words woman and women are not English words, but they are borrowed from the ancient Aramaic tongue. Of course, it is not unusual for other languages to contain loan words from other tongues, but what must be considered in this case is that those native speakers of the English language, descent from Japheth, have made it their business to change the meaning of the words woman and women, and they did it in a vain effort to hide the truth. If you have watched the Son of Perdition, Man of Sin video, then you know that the Gentiles are identified to be the descendants of Japheth. And those descendants of Japheth comprise the family tree of the Eurasians, also called Europeans and Asians. But in the Aramaic tongue, they are called something else entirely. And the omen is our first clue to their other and hidden identity. Over 88 years ago, Charles Taze Russell, the founder of the Jehovah Witnesses religion, who were also known as the International Bible Students, contributed to the editing, reprinting, and endorsement of a book whose author admitted that the information contained in the book was dictated to her by a fallen angel who wanted to earn favor and return to the good graces of the Most High. The book is called Angels and Women. However, the original publication was called Seolah. Charles Taze Russell, himself a Gentile and descendant of Japheth, endorsed the book to his followers and suggested that much could be learned from the contents therein, and this should be shocking, considering that Russell knew very well the source of the text. Note the interesting type use for the cover title of the book. If you pay more than the usual attention to the cover, you will notice that the word women is typed in such a way that the reader's eyes are drawn to the small letter O. It also looks like a number 6. However, if you simply focus on the O, you should see that the word omen is distinct and noticeable. Another book by the same title was published only a few years ago, but this time the author was a man named Dan Brown. And the book? Angels and Demons. But wait, how can we say that the books are the same title when it appears that they are obviously different? Well, it only appears that way to those who do not realize that the authors of the books use 2 words in their titles that actually come from the ancient Aramaic language. In fact, not only are the 2 words in question from Aramaic, but they both mean the same thing. And what are those words? The 2 words are women and demons. If you have visited my 12 Tribes site and have read the information about the Aramaic words that are used for Japheth's descendants, then you know that the word demon and demon, spelled D-E-A-M-E-N and D-A-M-A-N, or spelled D-E-A-M-O-N in English, are the Aramaic words for Gentiles. But the word that exposes the hidden identity of the harlot who rides the scarlet-colored beast is the Aramaic word that you've been told is omen, but in fact in Hebrew and Aramaic is pronounced with a W and is woman. So, the Aramaic root word for dema and demon is in. The appropriate consonantal prefixes that could be combined with the Aramaic root to form the word Gentiles are D, B, L, and W. Note, the letter O is pronounced with the...
So I was telling you that when I tell you about the, this is where they tricked us up at. with the when they say that Japhet is Noah's son, they cover over all this, and the man breaking it down and showing you that Gentiles, the word woman is tied to Gentile. They know it ain't what they telling us. The word woman mean ain't what it means. So like I was saying before, people that in the esoteric and the witchcraft and all that, they know exactly what it means. But they got us in the dark. We throw in the dark because we don't go back and look and find out this type of information and go back to the Aramaic and all that. We don't do that. But they know exactly what it means. And like I said, the Gentile has nothing to do with Noah. It's been covered over.
The W sound. When you apply the appropriate consonants to the Aramaic root, im, you get these Aramaic words for the word Gentiles: Dima, demon, Leman, Bema, and Omen. And the correct Aramaic pronunciation for Omen is woman or women.
But they got us all twisted up.
And considering the information that has been shared, you should have begun to realize that the woman has made a concerted effort to hide her identity and keep it hidden, but the Most High put it into the hearts of the kings of the earth to expose the woman. This is one reason why other Gentiles have left you clues, breadcrumbs, in the form of their movies and books,
right,
to let you know exactly who they are and who the harlot is. Of course, the harlot woman, who is of the Gentiles, has also continued her ride on the back of her brethren, but the Gentiles, as you know, are not in agreement on how their mountains or kingdoms should be governed. Some Gentiles still want to remain independent, but the beast will not allow that. Even the Gentiles who ride the back of their more powerful brothers are opposed to the Gentile beast's one world government, and up till now, the woman who rides the beast has been very convincing as she has argued against a secular, one world Gentile mountain. Why? Because she wants to save herself from what the beast has planned to do to her. Unfortunately for her, the Gentile beast has decided that the foundation of extending their power across the globe rests in their gathering together the other kings of the earth, and to make preparation for the arrival of their eighth and final kingdom, they will sacrifice the woman in effigy, as the woman is the Gentile beast's replacement representation of the people they hate most of all, the true Israelites. By sacrificing the harlot, they reason that this is the only way they will be able to rule over the entire inhabited earth, because if nothing else, they remember these words that were spoken and recorded so long ago: a house divided against itself shall not stand.
Right. So like I was saying before, when you go, you say, well, what are you talking about? Well, when you go and look at the third beast, is Javan. It's the Greeks. When you go to Genesis chapter 10, it's one of the sons of Japhet, the Gentile. And the fourth beast is Checham. And you go to Genesis chapter 10, it's one of the sons of Japhet. And the guy just broke it down and told you, was they telling you the one what the word woman means and what the word means? And they got that's huge, because of you sitting there believing one thing what they're saying, and they don't mean what it say it is. And so when you trying to write and divide the scriptures, and you got a definition that and it don't mean what it means, you can't write and divide the scriptures. You all off. You got you all out. And so, like I was saying before, when one of the biggest secrets that happen with these scriptures is the fact that, like I said, they tell you that Japhet is Noah's son. Japhet is not Noah's son. And I keep on reiterating it, but it's a lot in uncovered. A lot of understanding comes when you finally understand it, and that's that race, because these folks ain't nothing. They keep trying to apply JC to our history. They keep trying to apply these Gentiles to our history. We ain't got nothing to do with our history. He ain't got nothing to do with our future or our history. And we keep on trying to apply him to the scriptures when he ain't got nothing to do with the scriptures as far as Israel and us being delivered. Any comments? Anybody got any comments?
So what are they saying as far as the confusion with the word woman and demon as it applies to like Genesis? You know, when it's used everywhere, it's used to confuse.
Right. It's omen. When you understand, like I was saying, Enoch tells us that when one of the giants died, that spirit didn't come from heaven, right?
Okay. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So that spirit stayed upon the earth. That's what a wicked spirit is. That's what a demon is.
Yeah.
And that's what woman means. But they got us thinking woman means, a female.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so when you really understand what's going on, it's Japhet. It's Japhet because they the ones, like I said, they the people that originated from these fallen angels, from the sins of the fallen angels. And you can see that because they the ones that's ravaging the world. You don't see nobody else. I mean, from the previous video, the man said the only problem with the reason why the Cushites kingdom failed was they didn't have no aspirations to go and take nobody else's land. They had the power and the might and the knowledge and the technology to do that, but they wasn't that type of people to roam around and go and take other people's land. It's only one group of people that's doing it, that did that. That's Japhet, the Gentile. And when you look at it, it's the curse that spirit came upon them from Genesis chapter 3 and 15 when he cursed Cain and told him that he's going to be a wanderer and a nomad, and he's going to go from one place to the next, pillaging people's stuff and taking people's stuff. And that's him. And they done covered it over with these words, illegal words that he concocted. Yeah.
It reminds me of a question I had. I was, the Neanderthal. You're talking about Cain, so we know the people that I guess that Cain joined
Right.
looked like he looked when he got sent out. Was that the angels' children, or was that the Neanderthal? I'm just trying to, that whole thing has always confused me.
Yeah, the Neanderthals come from Genesis chapter 6. That's after Cain. When the angels came down and slept with the women on earth and got giants. That's what a Neanderthal is.
Oh, so that's the same thing as a Nephilim?
Right. That's what a Neanderthal is. They fumbling with it, trying to throw you off with it, but that's what a Neanderthal is. And then Cain's descendants intermingle with them. Because that's who Esau married into that. Esau married into that lineage. And then eventually Japhet and Esau became one nation. That's who Rome is. The four beasts is a merger from Esau and Japhet coming together.
Okay.
And they got the. Go ahead.
Some of them were giants, and some of them were just like
wicked as hell because
the Neanderthal was supposed to be huge. They kind of look kind of, well, the illustrations they use. I mean, they don't know how they look, but yeah, because
they was defective. They had all kinds of defects.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that, they had mixed with angelic beings. But the thing about it is, like I was saying before, when they start talking about the Neanderthal DNA now, it's all in Europe. It ain't the Neanderthal gene. They're not finding no Neanderthal gene in Africa. The Neanderthal gene is found among the European nations where they existed at. Because that's who they intermingle with.
I remember that guy was talking about the architects had found in that.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And like I said, they're using words to throw you off. Like they're saying Neanderthal when there's Nephilim. And, Neanderthal, they're trying to make you think it's two different types of, it's the same beings. Neanderthal and the Nephilim, the same beings. Yeah. Anybody else got anything? Questions? I'm opening it up for Q&A for any questions or comments before I go into the lesson.
Last night you were reading in Joel, right?
Okay.
In chapter 3, it was talking about the valley of decision. I can't remember exactly which scripture it was.
Right.
But can you explain that a little bit?
Let me find it so everybody know where it's at.
Joel chapter 3. Let me find the verse.
Okay.
3:14.
Yeah, so start at verse 11. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathens, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause the mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of the Jehoshaphat. For there will I set judge all the heathens round about. Put ye in the sickle, for harvest is ripe. Come, get ye down, for the press is full, for the vats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes and multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near, valley of, in the valley of decision. So when you notice, if you notice, it says at the top in verse 11, in verse 12, it says, "Let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat." See that? So the valley of Jehoshaphat and the valley of decision is the same place.
Oh, it's the same place. Okay.
So why is he saying valley of decision? We go to Ezekiel chapter 37. I mean, not 37, but 38. 38, and I'm in verse 9. Well, I'm starting at verse 8. It's God and Magog. That's who the heathen is. And like I said, when you go back and do your homework, Magog, Gog, Magog, Meshach, Tubal, all of them is Japhet's children. It's like the guy just broke it down to you. That's who they are. They ain't got no connection to Noah. So then, and they wicked as hell. And so what he's saying is, just like you got a vineyard, you might plant 2 rows of vineyards starting out, but 20, 30 years later, you got all kind of vineyards because they didn't multiply. Well, these people didn't multiply since the time of Cain. They multiplied, and so he said the vats are overflowing. That means that they are everywhere. They multiplied. So he says in 8, after many days thou shalt be visited, talking about Japhet, in the latter years thou shalt come in the land that is brought back from the sword and gathered and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste. But it is brought forth out of the nations, and thou shalt dwell safely, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy band and many people with thee. And thus says the Lord God, it shall also come to pass that at the same time some things shall come in thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. You know they think an evil thought because they're evil as hell, they're wicked as hell. From way back, from Tubal-Cain. 11, and thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages, and I will go to them that are at rest, and they shall dwell safe, and that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither balls nor gates, to take a spoil and to take a prey, like they did on the west coast. To turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gathered cattle and goods that dwell in the midst of the land. Sheba, Dedan, and the merchants of Tarsus, Tarsus, one of Japhet's children. With all the young lions instead thereof shall say unto thee, Art thou come to take a spoil, as thou gather thy company to take a prey, to carry away silver and gold, and take away cattle and goods, take away a great spoil. Therefore, son of man, prophesy unto God. Thus saith the Lord God, in that day when my people Israel dwell safely, shall thou not know, and thou shalt come from a place out of the north parts, thou and many people with thee, all of them riding upon horses in a great company, in a mighty army, and thou shalt come against my people Israel as a cloud to cover the land, and it shall be in the latter days, and I will bring thee against my land, and the heathen may know me when I shall be sanctified in thee, O God, before their eyes. Thus saith the Lord God, art thou he whom I have spoken of in old times by my servants, the prophets of Israel, which prophesied in those days many years that I will bring thee against them. And it shall come to pass, here go the decision right here. It shall come to pass at the same time when God shall come against the land of Israel, says the Lord God, that my fury shall come up in my face. For in my jealousy and in the fire of my wrath have I spoken it. Surely in that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Israel. That's when he resurrects them in Ezekiel 37. So that the fish of the sea and the fowls of the heaven and the beasts of the field and all creeping things that creepeth upon the earth and all the men that are upon the face of the earth shall shake. So that's the shaking that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John talk about. They'll shake in my presence, and the mountains shall be thrown down, and the steep places shall fall, and every wall shall fall to the ground, and I will call for the sword against him throughout all my mountains, says the Lord God. Every man that swore shall be against his brother. And I will plead with thee. See right here? I will plead with thee right here. So we're going to plead with him. I will plead against thee with pestilence and with blood, and I will rain upon him and upon his bands and upon many people that are with him, and overflowing rain and a great hailstorm, fire and brimstone. So you pleading with him, so that means you got to make a decision. You going to back off my people or what? We know these wicked ass people ain't going to back off. So that's why he calling it the valley of decision. When he manifests himself and plead with him, they got to make a decision. Just like the Pharaoh had to make a decision. Pharaoh had to make a decision once the Lord of hosts came back. And Moses went and told him, Moses told him, say God told him and let them go. Pharaoh had to make a decision. And he made the wrong decision. Same right here.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else got anything?
Real quick, earlier you were mentioning something when you were talking about reading something, or they were talking about the how not the Mormons, but the Jehovah Witness, that sounded kind of similar to when they were talking about the angels. What was the significance of the Jehovah Witness comment in that section earlier? What is it that they tried to tie to, I guess? Because they use the same thing. They use the Bible and the Old Testament in that way too. They talked about the angels, but I was just trying to see what they believe. I don't know much about the Jehovah Witness and what they believe.
Well, Jehovah Witness believe that, you know, that for some same reason they think that you know, Japhet is some kind of holy, you know, some kind of a holy person or holy, you know, it's really racism, saying that the white race is the one that's the Most High was dealing with from day one. They're the righteous seed, and they flipped it all the way around where they the righteous seed and we the wicked seed. But actually it's the other way around. And like he said, omen. But they didn't put a trick, or they didn't tricked it off and put a W on it and got you thinking the word mean one thing, but it means something else totally different. And that's got a lot to do with the drama that's going on the planet now, because like I said, the Most High said, he made her help me. That's what he said. He didn't say nothing. And they even turned that word around, making the words to mean something else. But that ain't what it means. It means, like he said, it's a group of people, like Baal. Baal is a race of people. Same thing. Same people that Omen tied to, Baal tied to. It's a race of people.
I'm surprised so many of our people follow the Jehovah Witness doctrine.
Oh yeah, we'll latch on
They
anything.
probably don't understand, just like the Christians we didn't understand what,
Right. Well, we'll latch on anything, you know what I'm saying? Because he said that they were gonna put a yoke of iron around our neck and until they destroy us, and then they take the iron off. Once they destroyed our understanding and our countenance and all that, and, they took the iron off, we go for anything. I mean, just like, for example, I don't know if anybody saw the video when the guy, Creflo Dollar, and I can't think of the other pastor, kicking all that money around on top of the stage. You seen that?
Yes.
Yeah. They hollering at me. You can see their countenance, look in their face. They look like devils. They kicking all this money around on top of the stage. I mean, come on, what's holy about that? That's crazy. Well, we sit there and go for it. They steady coming up there, emptying their pockets out, throwing it up on top of the stage.
Yeah, throwing the money up there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then how you gonna you got 20,000-30,000 people, and people barely paying their bills, but you got all the money, and you're not concerned about these people in the congregation that they ain't making it. So what's righteous about that? They ain't got no concern about it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But we go for that kind of stuff because like I said, he said that he's gonna put a yoke of iron around our neck until he destroys us, and that's what we are. Except for the ones that are waking up. Yeah. And another thing I was talking about last night too, I wanted to shine light. I wanted to mention it tonight too. What goes over so many people's head, they don't apply it. The Most High. Let's look at it. Jeremiah right quick. And you got to understand, we in the same predicament. It's nothing new under the sun. So, 24 of Jeremiah. With Jeremiah. Okay. So right here, 24 Jeremiah is two baskets of figs. All right. And so when you talk about figs, Israel, the nation of Israel is a fig tree. And so it's got two baskets of figs because we got a wicked whiskey group. It's a wicked group of Israelites in Israel, and it's a righteous group in Israel. And the Most High, at the point to get rid of the wicked, it's like you got a basket of apples, and you got a rotten one sitting in the middle of it, and he's starting to get on the other ones and rotting the rest of them out. So he got to separate them. You got to take all the good ones out and sit them on the side, and then get rid of the rotten ones. So let's look at it. He says, and we're in the same predicament now. So it says, the Lord showed me, and behold, two baskets of figs were set before the temple of the Lord. And after Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had carried away captive Jeconiah, the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, and the princesses of Judah, and the carpenters, and the smiths, from Jerusalem, and had brought them to Babylon. One basket has very good figs, see that? Even like the figs that are very ripe. And the other basket had very naughty figs, which are not to be eaten, or they are so bad. Then said the Lord unto me, what seest thou? And Jeremiah said, I see figs, good figs, and very good, and evil, very evil, that cannot be eaten, they are so evil. And again, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, thus said the Lord God unto Israel, like these good figs, see that? So will I acknowledge them, that are carried away captive of Judah, whom I have sent out of this place into the land of the Chaldeans for their good. So we took the good ones out, because once he got the good ones out, he had Nebuchadnezzar take them away. And once he got the good ones out, the rest of them that's in the land of Israel is wicked as hell. And that's what we're witnessing right here. He destroying them. Look what he say. 6. For I will set mine eyes upon them for good, and I will bring them again. So he took them over to Israel, to Babylon, till he get rid of these wicked ones. Then he's going to bring the good ones back. And I will build them and not pull them down. I will plant them and not pluck them up. And I will give them a heart to know me. That's what we are right now. It's some people, we waking them up and giving them a heart to know him. And some of them ain't. They bad thieves, very bad thieves. Ain't no good in them. He says, and they shall be my people, the good ones, and I will be their God, and they shall return unto me. See that? With a whole heart. And as for the evil feed, which cannot be eaten, and no matter what you do, or what you tell them, or what kind of adjustments you make, they ain't going for it. So he says, they are so evil. Surely thus says the Lord God, so will I give Zedekiah, the king of Judah, this the wicked king that throw Jeremiah in the dungeon, and his princes, and the residue of Jerusalem that remain in this land. See that? They remain in the land, and them that dwell in the land of Egypt. He told them not to go to Egypt no more. I told you that. And I will deliver them to be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth for their hurt, to be a reproach and a proverb and a taunt and a curse in all these places where I should drive them. And I will send a sword and famine and pestilence among them till they be destroyed, till they be consumed from off the land that I gave unto them and to their forefathers. So there's a group of people that he wipe it out. But the righteous ones, he sent them to Babylon, but it's a group, he's got to wipe them out. You got to apply that to the day, same thing today. You know? And I think a lot of people getting discombobulated by that. You know? Yeah. Okay. Let me hit this right here. It says JW believes, Jehovah Witness believe in the governing body that play the role as a mediator between Jesus and the sheep. The elite governing body claimed to be part of 104,000. Yeah, right, exactly. Right, and I don't see how people go for that, but they go for it. Yeah. Say that they are, the Jehovah Witnesses, upper echelon of the Jehovah Witnesses are the 144,000. They going to heaven. They shun and expel anyone that doesn't believe that they do, or ask questions. Right. Okay. Anybody got anything else on that before we go into the lesson?
That verse 7, Jeremiah 24, verse 7, that's very encouraging.
Okay, what did it say?
We're saying, I will give them a heart to know me, that I am the Lord. They shall be my people, and I will be their God, and they will return to me with their whole heart.
Right.
That he has in place today. Yeah.
Ain't that where we at?
Yeah.
Right. Ain't everybody. Ain't everybody.
Yeah.
So it ain't nothing new under the sun.
Right.
Right. So just like when he took Ezekiel and all them and sent them to Babylon, it ain't their business to worry about what other ones doing. That's Most High job. That's his business to worry about. If they doing the most and looking crazy, that's him. We just see he gonna deal with them. You come across somebody's path and you trying to break something down to them and they ain't getting it. It ain't your job to worry about. It ain't no job to worry about it. You convey everything to them and it ain't registering. You move on. It ain't your job to worry about it. Yeah. So I'm in the book of Mayhem. I'm gonna read that. Like I say, we'll read but I think 3 small chapters. And we'll read each chapter and then do some comments. So I'm reading a little bit out of the introduction first, the historical setting. It says, this Nahum, historical setting. First of all, it says the prophecy of Mayhem is dominated by a single idea, the doom of Nineveh. Right? I'm gonna shine a light on that in a minute. So, my asking about a question. So when you think about Nineveh, what you think about? Anybody can answer that. What you think about when you think about Nineveh? What's the first thing you think about? Me myself, I think about
Assyria, like
right. Yeah, that's where it was at. So by Syria, but another thing, what I think about is Jonah.
say that again.
Jonah. That's what Jonah was asked to go to. Reason why he jumped off the boat.
Okay. Okay.
He's told to go to Nineveh. Anybody else? Okay. So I'm gonna start reading. So when you say Nineveh, that's tied to the 10 tribes. 10 tribes.
Okay.
And that's the history of the 10 tribes. Like I said, we don't have no history. We know our forefathers, they wrote down everything. But the 10 tribes got a history. The time when they was over in when they was in captivity in Assyria. That's where Nineveh is. So when you see Nineveh, it's tied to the 10 tribes.
Oh, I never understood why he had to go there. Okay.
Yeah, so that's what that's about.
Mm.
That's what 10 tribes is. So let me look at something right quick before we go forward. So I'm going to the Apocrypha book right quick. The Apocrypha. And I'm in the book of Tobit. I'm in the book of Tobit. And you can go there. I'll give you the verses in the chapter, but I'm gonna go there and show you something right quick. Show you what these clowns did. So I'm in Tobit, and it says Tobit, chapter 1, verse 1. The story of Tobit, the son of Tubal, the son of Henai, the son of Abu, the son of, I can't say these names, of Gabriel, the stock of Asherah of the tribe of Naphtali, who in the days of Sennacherib, king of Assyria, were carried into captivity from Thebe, which is the south of Kadesh, Naphtali in Galilee, above Asher. I walked all the days of my life in the ways of truth and uprightness, and I did many acts of charity for my brothers and my nation who were taken to the land of Assyria, to Nineveh. See that? There go the connection. To Nineveh, to the land of Assyria, to Nineveh with me. And when I was in my country, in the land of Israel, when I was young, the whole tribe of my forefather Naphtali revolted from the house of Jerusalem, which had been chosen from all the tribes of Israel, for all the tribes to offer sacrifices, in which the temple of the dwelling of the Most High had been dedicated and built for all ages. So, like I say, let's look at that. So it says, I'm gonna read it again. I walked all the days of my life in the ways of truth and uprightness, and I did many acts of charity for my brethren in my nation who were taken to the land of Assyria. See that? Land of Assyria, to Nineveh with me. So, like I was saying before, it's too much evidence. Now, this is Assyria, right? He said this is a witness. They in Assyria. So where Assyria located at geographically? And it's over by the Middle East and by Africa. Hello?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So how in the hell did America our land? There's another witness right here. Ain't no place over here called Assyria. Right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just saying. Too many witnesses. Okay. So anyway, so now we see what reason why Nineveh is in the Bible. But we're gonna go in and even a little further. So I'm gonna read a little of this historical setting. Being occupied with the doom of Nineveh, Nahum does not date his prophecy. No, see, it ain't that Nahum ain't dated. It's these wicked Edomites don't want to date it. They don't want you to connect no dots. Said Nahum does not date his prophecy according to any of the kings of Israel or Judah. He probably vague. They're always vague. He probably ministered during the reign of Hezekiah. Probably he did. This would apparently fit 1:9 through 13 is understood as a vivid description of Sennacherib's invasion of Judah and the siege of Jerusalem. The only historical citation that can be identified with certainty is the reference to Noma, which is the Egyptian city of Thebes. So with that being said, I'm gonna start reading. I'm in Nahum chapter 1, verse 1. It says, the burden of Nineveh. The book of the vision of Nahum, the Eshkahite. God is jealous. The Lord revengeth. The Lord revengeth and is furious. The Lord will take vengeance on his adversaries, and he reserved wrath for his enemies. The Lord is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. The Lord have his way in the whirlwind and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. He rebuketh the sea, he maketh it dry, and drieth up all the rivers. Bashan languishes, and Carmel, and the flower of Lebanon languisheth. The mountains quake at him, and his hills melt, and the earth is burned at his presence, yea, and the world, and all that dwell therein. Who can stand before his indignation, and who can abide in the fierceness of his anger? His fury is poured out like fire, and the rocks are thrown down by him. The Lord is good, a stronghold in the day of trouble, and he knoweth them that trust in him. But with an overrunning flood, he will make a utter end of the place thereof, and in darkness shall pursue his enemies. What do ye imagine against the Lord? He will make an utter end. Affliction shall not rise up the second time. But while they are folding together as thorns, and while they are drunken and drunkards, they shall be devoured as stubble fully dry. There is one come out of thee that imagineth evil against the Lord and wicked counsel. Thus saith the Lord, though they be quiet, and likewise many, yet thus shall they be cut down. And when he shall pass through, though I have afflicted thee, I will afflict thee no more. For now will I break his yoke from off thy neck, and I will burst thy bounds asunder. And the Lord hath given the commandment concerning thee, that no more of thy name be sung out of the house of the gods will I cut off, and the graven images and the molten images, and I will make thee thy grave, for thou art vile. Behold, upon the mountains and the feet of him that bringeth good tidings, that publisheth peace. O Judah, keep thy solemn feast, perform thy vows, for the wicked shall no more pass through thee. He is utterly cut off. Right? That's verse chapter 1. In comments. Everybody good on that? So we see now that this just like the Most High is talking, got Jeremiah and Ezekiel talking for the southern kingdom. He got Nahum dealing with the southern kingdom, and the people that got the southern kingdom got the 10 tribes afflicted is Assyrians, and he's telling you that he gonna come and he gonna break their yoke off their neck, just like he broke the yoke of Babylon off of the southern kingdom neck. So let's keep going. Chapter 2 says, the siege and destruction of Nineveh. See that? Nineveh. He that dasheth in pieces is come up before thy face. Keep the munitions, watch the way, make the lion strong, fortify thy power mightily. For the Lord hath turned away the excellency of Jacob, as the excellency of Israel, for the impoters have emptied them out, and the more their vine branches. The shield of his mighty men is made red, and the valiant men are in scarlet. The chariots shall be with flaming torches in the day of his preparation, and the fir trees shall be terribly shaken. The chariots shall rage in the streets, and they shall jostle one against another in the broad ways, and they shall seem like torches they shall run like the lightning. He shall recount his worthies. They shall stumble in their walk. They shall make haste to the wall thereof, and the defense shall be prepared. Okay? The gates of the river shall be opened, and the palace shall be dissolved, and his shall be led away captive. She shall be brought up, and her maid shall be led her as shall lead her as with the voice of doves, tabering upon their breasts. Now, but Nineveh is of old, like a pool of water. If they shall flee away, stand, stand, shall they cry. But none shall look back. Take ye the spoils of silver, take the spoils of gold, for there is none end to the store, and the glory out of all the pleasant furniture. She is empty and void and waste, and the heart melted, and the knees smite together, and much pain is in all loins, and the faces of them are all blackness. Where is the dwelling of the lions, and the feeding place of the young lions, where the lions, even the old lions, walked, and the lions wept, and none made them afraid. The lion did tear in pieces enough for his whelps, and strangled for his lioness, and filled his holes with prey, and his dens with ravens. Okay, it's the overthrow of Nineveh. Behold, I am against thee, said the Lord of hosts, and I will burn her chariots in the smoke, and the sword shall devour the young lions, and I will cut off thy prey from the earth, and the voice of thy messengers shall no more be heard. That was chapter 2. Any comments? Anybody got any comments? Okay.
No comment.
Okay, chapter 3 says, whoa, here we go. Keep in mind the New Testament now. Like I said, the average person don't make this connection with Nineveh. See? So you are already on Prim Road when you understand this is where Jonah was supposed to be going. And Jonah, JC said Jonah was a sign. Jonah in the 3 days and 3 nights in the well was his sign. So anyway, chapter 3 said, woe to the bloody city. It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departed not. The noise of a whip and the noise of the rattling of the wheels and of the prancing horses and of the jumping chariots. The horsemen lift up both the bright sword and the glittering spear, and there is a multitude of slain and a great number of carcasses, and there is none end of their carcasses. They stumble upon their carcasses, because the multitude of the whoredom of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of the witchcraft, that selleth nations through her whoredoms, and the families through her witchcraft. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts, and I will discover thy skirt upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame, and I will cast abominable filth upon thee, and make thee vile, and I will set thee as a gazing stock. And it shall come to pass that all they that look up unto thee shall flee from thee, and say, Nineveh is laid waste. Who will bemoan her? When shall I seek the comforter for thee? So go to Revelation. Remember the great city, and then it says what? All our merchants and all our people that deal with thee gonna cast dust upon their heads and look at thee from afar off. Same wording right here. So 8, art thou better than the populous newt, that's Thebes, that was saturated among the rivers, that had the waters round about it, whose ramparts was the sea, and her wall was from the sea. Ethiopia and Egypt were her strength, and it was infinite. Put and Luban were thy helpers. Yet was she carried away, and she went into captivity. Her children also were dashed into pieces at the top of the streets, and they cast lots for honorable men, and all our great men were bound in chains. Thou also shalt be drunken thou shalt be hid. Thou also shalt seek strength because of the enemy. All thy strongholds shall be like the fig trees with the first ripe figs. If they be shaken, they shall even fall into the mouth of the eater. Behold, thy people in the midst of thee are women, and the gates of thy land shall be set wide open unto thy enemies, and fire shall devour thy boards. Draw thee water for the siege. Fortify thy strongholds. Go into clay and tread the mortar and make strong the brickings. There shall the fire devour thee. The sword shall cut thee off. It shall eat thee up like the cankerworm, and make thyself many as a cankerworm. Make thyself many as a locust. Thou hast multiplied thy merchants. See that? You go to merchants right here. Remember what it says in the Revelations. Thy merchants shall stand far off. Thou hast multiplied thy merchants above the stars of heaven, and the cankerworm spoileth and spilleth and flieth away. Thy crown are as the locusts, and thy captains are as the great grasshoppers, which came in the hedges of the cold day, but when the sun arises, they flee away, and that place is not known where thou art. Thy shepherds slumber, O King of Assyria. See that? King of Assyria, thy nobles shall dwell in the dust, and thy people is scattered upon the mountains, and no man gathers them. There is no healing of thy bruise. Thy wound is grievous. All that are here, the brute of thee shall clap their hands over thee, for upon whom have not thy wickedness passed continuously. So, any comments? I'll break this down. Anybody got any comments off of chapter 3? Okay, so let's look at it. So just like I said, Jeremiah prophesied to them that Nebuchadnezzar was coming, and then Nebuchadnezzar came, and we saw where Joel was prophesying to them that the Greeks was coming, and the Greeks came, and Ezekiel was prophesying. Well, Nahum was telling them Syria came and got the 10 tribes and took them to Assyria, right? But when they got over there, the Syrians wasn't treating them right. So what Nahum is telling them that somebody coming, and they're gonna lay this place to waste, right? Well, let me show you who it is.
Okay.
Judah, book of Judah. So we're gonna see how all this stuff tied together. So I'm in the book of Judah. So everybody know what that's at, right? It's in the Apocrypha. So here we go. I'm in Apocrypha chapter, book of Judah, chapter 1, verse 1. In the 12th year was that.
You said chapter 1, verse what?
1.
1.
Of Judah. Say in the 12th year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, see that? Who ruled over the Syrians, see that? In the great city of Nineveh. See that? All this connecting dots. So it ain't got nothing to do with JC. Jonah going to Nineveh ain't got nothing to do with the New Testament. It says, in the days when our flag ruled over the Medes, that's the place I was talking about. Abanika. That's in Syria too. All flat built around Escabana walls of huge stone for 4.5 feet wide and 9 feet long. And he built the walls 105 feet high and 75 feet wide. And all the gates he built towers 150 feet high, with foundations 90 feet wide, and made his gates that rose to the height of 105 feet and was 60 feet wide, so that his host of the warriors could march out and his infantry could form. So in those days, King Nebuchadnezzar made war, see that, on King Arafat in the Great Plains. I'll say this plains is on the border of Ragab. That's another city in Nineveh. You'll see that city right there in the book of Talmud too. He was joined by all the inhabitants of the hill country and all who live along the Euphrates and the Tigris and the Hyssop, and on the plains of Ararat, king of Elamus, and many nations joined the army of the Chaldeans. Then Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, sent to all inhabitants of Persia and to all who lived toward the west, who were settled in Sicily and Damascus, Lebanon, Antebellum, and to all who lived on the seacoast, and all the inhabitants of Carmel, Gilead, that were heathens, and to the upper Galilee, see that? Upper Galilee, and them Gentiles, see that? I say, and the great plains of Escalon, and all that were in Samaria and in its towns, and beyond Jordan, as for Jerusalem and Betim and Chelis and Kadesh, and the river of Egypt, Tophine and Ramesses, and all the lands of Goshen, until you also pass Tanis and Memphis, and to all who live in Egypt until you reach the borders of Ethiopia. But all the inhabitants of the land paid no attention. See this? They paid no attention to the command of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and would not go with him to the war, for they were not afraid of him, but regarded him as just a single man. And they sent his messages back disappointed and in disgrace. So what's going on. So the Syrian, what a lot of people don't know, the Syrian army wasn't that nice. They ruled for a long time. So when Nebuchadnezzar came out of nowhere and said he's going to fight the Syrian army, nobody ain't paying no mind. They had no respect to him. But Most High with him, Lord of hosts with him and these other 6 angels with Nebuchadnezzar. Now, and now he already got Nahum already prophesying, telling him. So there's somebody going to come over here and tear this place up. Well, you talking about Nebuchadnezzar. So let's look at it. I'm gonna continue on. Then Nebuchadnezzar was very angry with that whole country, and he swore by his throne and by his kingdom that he would certainly take vengeance upon all the regions of the Sicily and Damascus and Syria, and kill with the sword all inhabitants of the land of Moab, the Ammonites, all Judah, and everybody in Egypt, until you come to the coast of the 2 seas. So here you go. In the 17th year, he made war with the king of Arphaxad, and he overcame him. That's because he got Lord hosts with him, right? And he got these 6 angels, and he put Arphaxad and his whole army and all his cavalry and all his chariots to flight. And he took possession of his cities and reached Ecbatana, and he took it, the towers, and plundered its bazaars and turned its glory into shame. That's what Nahum just told him. Nebuchadnezzar coming. So this right here, the book of Judah, holy. See, they got you thinking the New Testament holy. This was holy right here.
Right.
Because this is where you're getting all the connections at. All the dots being connected right here. This was holy. Okay.
Read your chapter 1 again. This one, I looked this up online when I do the Apocrypha. It's reading totally different from what. Yeah, it's not. What did you say? Read it again.
Let me get it. Let me get it again. It's Judah chapter 1. You talking about?
Yes, I found it online. I always pull it up.
Okay. In the 12th year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar. Is that how it starts?
No, I must have the wrong one then. And
what you got? You got the book of Judah?
Yeah, Judah, the first chapter, and it's saying it's the King James with the Apocrypha. That's the translation I'm looking at.
Oh, right. I'm reading out of I got another Apocrypha book that I have. I lost my cover off this one.
Yeah, this one is talking about
this right here. This one right here is Edgar J. Goodspeed wrote it. Edgar J. If you go to Amazon or eBay and type in Apocrypha and Edgar J. Goodspeed, he's gonna show you how it looks.
Okay, that's the problem. I had the wrong version of it. Okay.
Yeah, you know that since we done woke up, they didn't start hook and everything, and trying to flip it off and switch it off.
Yeah, because it's totally different from what you were reading. Yeah.
Yeah, this stuff what I'm reading is before this you know, this when I start waking up in mass numbers. Now they're going back trying to discredit everybody by changing the text. And this ain't the first time they did that. Yeah, so anybody got anything else before we go? We right at almost we got about 10 minutes.
Assyria was cruel.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean by you have to go and Google it.
Right.
You know, and do your research on it. You know what I'm saying? It's that simple.
Wow.
And then once you get the information in your head that you learn about Syria, then when you go read it, then like I said, the information starts jumping off the page.
Right.
So if you don't have that information in your head, you read it, and you ain't getting the meaning of what's being said and what's being conveyed.
Right. And then with you reading that too, they was greedy too. They was doing the most, yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, anytime anybody, what you have to understand, thinking like a Hebrew, anytime somebody come and get any tribe of Israel and take them somewhere, believe me, the Most High gonna come and put in. So if you don't see that, they hoodwinked.
Right.
He gonna come. He gonna send them over there, but he gonna come behind there and he gonna drop drum on that nation.
Right.
And so right there with that understanding, you see right there, Jonah and Nineveh ain't got nothing to do with JC.
Yeah.
Come on. Ain't that something?
Yeah.
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 Okay. Anybody else?
Wow.
Okay. So let me hit this here. Everybody good?
Yes.
Okay. Here we go. Okay. We'll see everybody tomorrow at 7 o'clock for the
8 o'clock.
Huh? 8 o'clock, yeah. So anybody want to volunteer to read a psalm next week, or what you think?
Yeah, I can do it. I can do one.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna see everybody tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
All right.
Shalom.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
Shalom.